another installment of Livin' Cruddy with Cruddy Joe. I'm here with my brothers from another mother, Jeano Roid Coffinberry and Jimmy Roid Hansen.
I'm not sure Hansen was a Roid.
It's Handsome Jimmy. You look at me, you should know that. It says it in the corner there. Handsome Jimmy.
Right. I mean, they look down, they're like, oh, who's that? Is that fat fellow down there?
Who's that handsome feller?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, is he their favorite?
I'm everybody's favorite.
I happen to know that Handsome Jimmy got his start in Rochester, New York.
That's true.
What can you tell us about your early days of rock and roll?
Well, I know a lot of people think I faked my entire musical resume before I moved to Nashville, but it's all true. It all happened. I saw Jimmy Page when I was 13, and I decided I had to play the guitar. Yeah, he was hanging out in front of the house playing guitar. And then when I was 15, I think I heard the Sex Pistols, and we started a band because it sounded like we could do it. And the first band I was ever in was called the Bloody Nuns in Labor, and I was the singer. Oh, yeah. Lots of metal covers, some punk rock, some terribly written songs about killing families and lighting things up.
Well, who are some of the most influential bassists in your...
They remain Paul McCartney and Geezer Butler. Those are the two best right there. Gene and I fight about McCartney all the time. But those are the two guys I rip off the most, so they must be the best, right?
So you don't rip off Bobby Dahl?
No.
But it's nothing but a good time. Come on.
Maybe a little bit of Duff from Guns N' Roses. I got into them for a while.
Nice.
But I don't play with a pick anymore. I gave that up many years ago. Dee Dee's important too, but that's more like the whole band is important, you know?
Right, yeah.
I heard that he was in a popular band called the Boobies.
That's right. But I was in a mod band in the 90s, so I learned a lot of McCartney and Ronnie Lane licks and all that stuff.
Not even in the heydays of the Fat Boys? Come on.
No, as hard as I tried, I was so into a metal rut when I was like 14 to 17. That's all I could see was Maiden and Metallica and all this.
Well, Les Claypool tried out for Metallica, right?
Oh, yeah, I heard that story. So, and we would always, and because, as we were talking about, Gene, while you were gone, we were talking about the Sex Pistols and Sid and how I don't know that I've ever even heard him play bass. So he wasn't an influential style bass player, but the aesthetic and the idea that show business could be part of punk rock, I think that's where we definitely ripped that off when I was in this band. And, we would have all kinds of nonsense going on at the live show to make up for the fact that our songs were crappy and we didn't really know what we were doing. But because of that, we drew a big crowd, and then they started putting us on shows when national acts would come through town. I think in the same 6-month period, we ended up opening for, like the Cranberries and King Missile and their Detachable Penis and Yngwie Malmsteen, all within like 6 months. And Yngwie drew a couple thousand people. That was fun. They were screaming at us the minute we came out to get off the stage. But within like 10 minutes, we had convinced them that we had something interesting to show them, I guess. I don't know.
So you must be used to it today then when you take the stage.
Well, what was this band?
This band was called The Vast.
When
we won a contest. That's me. Look, Jenny Beer.
And we won a few of those contests back in Florida as well. Got to the finals to open for Motley Crue at Sunrise. And
nice. Oh, you lost?
Lost. Well, it was like a big radio thing. You send in your shit. We were down to the very last one.
Almost had it.
Then I heard the gig was terrible anyway. So
of course. People
are like, oh, tell the local band to get off stage. So we're showing Creep Show this week.
Directed by the legendary Jared Romero, who's of course known for the incredibly influential and groundbreaking film 1971's There's Always Vanilla.
I haven't even seen that movie.
Is that a real thing? Why aren't we showing that one?
It's got the girl from Night of the Living Dead in it, right?
Delta Burke?
Judith Ridley?
I don't think she's in. Maybe she is. I don't know. Creep Show is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
Jimmy, I know you're not the horror guy, but...
I'm not, but that one you couldn't miss. It came out when I was a kid, so I remember seeing it many times.
And the series is good, too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I heard some people complaining about it, but I thought it was pretty good. The way they're presented and the way they looked, they fit together pretty well. So.
Right, yeah. Well, turning the focus back to Jimmy, what was the transition like going from the New York Dolls to Agnostic Front?
I wasn't there for that. See, my town is way, way up north. Lake Ontario. We're pretty far away from New York City. I didn't get to participate in that. But I can tell you there was an unnatural devotion I felt it was unnatural, to Johnny Thunders in our town. There were so many kids, young kids. I remember when I was like 18, these 16-year-old kids that were coming to the clubs, they were obsessed with Johnny Thunders. And at the time, I didn't get it. I was still into metal.
I specifically remember Iron Maiden played across town, and it was a big sold-out deal at the Sportatorium. Johnny Thunders is down at the Cameo, and it's just a sparse, empty crowd. You know, now half those kids that were Iron Maiden would all be like, oh, how many Thunders go way back? It's kind of like the Misfits. Everybody, you know, they became their favorite band 30 years after they were.
Right, posthumously. Yeah, that when I moved to Nashville, that's what shocked me almost in the same way, was the Misfits fan base here in town.
I don't think that's specifically Nashville. That's
no.
Oh, no. I remember when they were around. I mean, I knew people that were in the Fiend Club, and it was pretty small time. People kind of were like, they can't play, and they get some kind of cool songs, but it's decades go by, and now these songs are, you know. Okay,
nobody needs to
moving to Nashville.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the story, but maybe you could describe what happened, how you ended up with the Creeping Cruds.
I didn't know anybody here, really. I had a few professional connections, some people that I knew, but nobody that played. And, of course, this town is intimidating. It's Music City, right? So I thought for sure there's no way I'm going to meet people that don't care that I'm terrible and that don't care that I look better than I play. So after a while, I started going a little stir crazy. And I told my wife, I was like, I need to put an ad out there on Craigslist or something and try to find a band player.
On Grindr.
This was before Grindr was still in concept stage. So I went on Craigslist, I put an ad up, and I heard from a few of them were really lame. And then finally I heard from Chris, I think, at first, and then Gene. But it was basically, you know, please help me so I don't drive my family crazy or murder everyone. I need rock and roll in my life. Well, that was it. I came and saw you guys play one time, and I was like, I want to be in this band.
Yeah, I remember you came out, and that was a pretty boisterous show over the pond. I'm like, well, if he doesn't want to play after this one, then he wasn't destined to do this shit at all.
Right. No, it was a great energy. You know, half the room knew the songs, and they were singing along, and that's rare. Yeah. So that was really cool.
Yeah, well, no, you definitely, I mean, the band wasn't really anchored in bass at that point at all. Now it's definitely to me, when you go to see the band, you're going to see Jimmy Hansen. Well, there goes.
Where'd he go?
He just disappeared.
Sure, as soon as I'm getting high praise.
When he figures out that we're not there anymore.
Yeah, it's always awesome when I go to the Crud show and hear the people sing along. Hey, can you see that girl? Did you see that girl?
All right.
I think it was I Want to Eat the Living that convinced me that everybody networked. And I thought they were saying "Come Out Devil." As a Reformed Catholic, that made it an easy sell.
It's the devil.
That's right.
And goats. So you came along in the band around the time that Pete was the singer, Wolfie was the singer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that was a long, stable lineup for a long time.
Yeah, all the way up until Boomer moved out of town.
Singers have shuffled in and out. It looks like right now that you're the guy. I think you surprised some people on the video. Were expecting when they first heard the song if they were thinking that it was going to be Dick or Jimmy or possibly Wolfie. But, you know, there's handsome Jimmy. Did you get any feedback?
Yeah, I did. I heard from a couple people that were both surprised and excited by it. I thought they thought it was similar to what you were saying. They weren't sure what was going to happen.
Well, I can tell you completely objectively, it's freaking awesome.
Nice.
With you singing and playing bass simultaneously, will this interfere with you making triumphant guitar faces?
Of course.
No!
But don't worry, it can only get better.
Well, we're stuck in the middle of this COVID plague. So,
right.
Of course, we haven't been able to play, and Jimmy's been deprived of the opportunity to hone that skill of playing and singing at the same time. And
That's Mabel.
Oh, hey, Mabel.
I've been working as far as I can without the full band experience in my isolation tomb here. Oh, yeah. That LIVIN Cruddy, I'm dying. I don't think we've ever, well, obviously we've never played it with the vocal, right? Because it didn't even exist until, we started cobbling the recording together.
Yeah, we've damned LIVIN Cruddy as music for ages.
So when are we going to reopen the Cruds?
Now, when I lived in Chicago, bear with me here, it's kind of a long prelude to it. My friends there were just obnoxious with how this and that, Chicago pizza is the best. With one foot in culinary and being from New York, where does the best pizza come from?
Where I'm from, in Rochester, New York.
So Rochester, not just New York, but Rochester,
Right,
New
right.
York.
I like Rochester pizza. You'll find that the pizza where you grew up is probably your favorite. And that's because there are particular singularities with the dough in every market because the water is different everywhere. I maintain the reason the pizza's so crappy here is because the water is full of lime or whatever the hell's in it. Up north, it's different. And the dough cures differently. The yeast grows in a different way. So right now, the best pizza around here is in my kitchen because I know what I'm doing.
I thought you might say that.
I worked at a pizza shop when I was a teenager. I learned all their secrets.
Nice.
But the dough, the water, that's so critical. You'll never get good pizza down here because of it.
Now, is the Rochester pizza similar to like New York City pizza proper? As far as
It's not thin. It's kind of it's sort of halfway, kind of like Rochester is, halfway between Chicago and New York style. It's kind of doughy, but it's not super thick.
Was this before or after the boobies?
This was before, but a lot of the same guys.
Wait, you were really in a band called the Boobies?
Oh, yeah. With 2 E's.
Did it have a Z at the end?
Oh, no.
No, if you were to move away or something, I don't know what we'd do. We'd have to fold it up.
Well, I'm not going anywhere.
Musically at 75.
That's a good question. I'll probably be dead because I think I made a deal that if I make it to 70, it's hookers and coke until I'm dead.
Nice.
So how many years can you go on that?
How do I get in on that deal?
Just make that pact.
Well, you know, that's what Bukowski said. Find
Right.
true love and let it kill you.
And the older we get, you know, like you got to wonder. I don't feel like I would ever stop wanting to. I mean, my ears and my brain might give out and my back and all that stuff. It'll be strange if there's actually a weird culture of like a bunch of old 75 and 80-year-old dudes playing punk rock at shitty little corner clubs and a bunch of old people coming out to see them.
As long as I can keep my hair, I'll keep doing it.
Of all these Star Wars movies that have come out over the decades, which ones are the ones that you like?
Well, there's really only one that stands up, and that's the Empire Strikes Back. That would be Episode 4, came out in 1982, I think.
And that's like the default answer for everybody. So,
We'd just gotten a VCR the year before, so I had the first movie on a bootleg fuzzy copy, and I watched that about 500 times. And I was ready for that second installment, and it blew my mind.
aside from that, which one is the best one?
Well, if we're including all of the films in the Star Wars universe,
Everything.
Rogue One is right up there with my my other favorites. That's really good. Charlie, my 11-year-old, he hates it because everyone dies. And I fear for him when he has to go to school and read Shakespeare. Most of them are garbage. But like any good... So when we were talking about Creepshow earlier, I remember my father also had this giant hardcover anthology of all those old horror comics from the 50s. And I remember going through those things and being terrified of the drawings. And I have yet to see a film that scares me as much as these comics did when I was a kid.
Creepshow, or did he have like the EC stuff or the crazy shit with eyeballs popping out? And...
It was EC Comics, I think.
What'd you say? Needless to say, your dad's awesome.
He was something else. And then I didn't get really scared again in seeing a movie until I saw Poltergeist in the theater. That movie scared the crap out of me.
Was it mostly the clown doll that got you?
I moved to the beach the year Jaws came out.
That explains a lot about your love of Florida.
Well, you get there and you're like, you're a kid, you're like, oh shit, I'm going to be able to go to the beach all the time. You go there and like within 2 weeks you go see Jaws and you're like, could we move back to Ohio?
Oh, real quick, if I can go off on a quick tangent, I just wanted to say about the quizzes we have during the freakouts. If you've already won the quiz, try and let someone else answer and win.
Which is, of course, difficult because we have the same 20 people every week. All right, well, I wanted to come up with a couple things here to challenge you with general rock and roll knowledge and some movie knowledge. I'll recite a lyric to a song, and you can tell me what the next line is if you know it. And if you don't know it, then you have to go back and relearn rock and roll.
You know I'm no good with words. I never learned words.
Oh, that's okay. We've never had one that was good with words. So,
right.
Am I allowed to help?
Yes, you can help, but I know you won't get this one either. Are you ready?
I got my thinking face on.
Opening verse is, Johnny was a schoolboy when he learned his first Beatles song.
It's that shirt you're wearing.
They say that the road is no place to start a family.
Because I was obsessed with Led Zeppelin for a while, I went on a whole tangent with all the Swan Song bands and Bad Company and all that.
But do you know the next verse?
Oh, I don't know the next word. I can't remember. I used to know all those stupid songs.
I figured you'd know because your love of the Beatles. Johnny was a schoolboy when he heard his first Beatles song, "Love Me Do
Right.
It," I think it was, and from there it didn't take him long.
That deaf, dumb, and blind kid sure played a bean ping pong.
That one.
Ping pong.
This one should be a little easier. It's a quote from a movie. I see for the first time that Jimmy was a nervous wreck. His mind was going 8 different directions at once. Nothing.
Who wrote it?
Oh, well, it was Goodfellas, right before they kill Maury.
No!
Oh, damn. And that's one of my favorites too, Fail.
I should have known Goodfellas. I feel like that's, as an Italian American, that's what I'm supposed to know.
Oh, wah, wah, wah. Growing up in New York, was your life at all similar to the families and Good Times?
Yeah, it was almost exactly the same.
So it was dynamite?
It was dynamite.
Well, it's been an interesting interview with one of our favorite people, Jimmy.
Well, thank you all for tuning in again. And for Mr. Furley, I'm Cruddy Joe. Thank you and good night. See you next week.